Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Tajweed for Beginners, Makharij Practical Practice. Inshallah, in this lesson we will read some Quran and try to implement the different Makharij that we learned in the other video. So, moving on. This is starting from verse 16 of Al-Baqarah, of the second surah in the Quran. So starting from the top, ulaika. Now the first letter here is Hamza, right? Because if an alif has a vowel on it, then it's not called alif anymore, it's called Hamza. So the alif here has a dhamma, so it's Hamza and not alif. So ulaika. Now what is the makhraj of lam? Again, I highly advise that you pause the video, try answering the questions on your own before hearing the answer. This will give you a better idea of how well you know the material. So the makhraj of lam is the front tip of the tongue touching, it's basically the front portion of the tongue touching the gums of the teeth from one canine to the other. Right, so the sharp part of the teeth, what some people might call vampire teeth, right? It touches the gums of the top from one side to the other. Okay. So ulai, again Hamza, right? Which is from the Jawf. Ulaikal. Sorry, Hamza is from the Jawf. Wrong. Hamza is from Halq, right? And which part of the Halq? The deepest part of the Halq, the deepest part of the throat. Ulaika, kaf. What's the makhraj of kaf? Kaf is from the back of the tongue, but not as far back as qaf. Qaf is all the way in the back, and kaf is slightly in front of that. So kaf is the back portion of the tongue hitting the hard palate, right? And the qaf is the extreme back of the tongue hitting the soft palate. أولئك الذين ذال. What's the makhraj of ذال? ذال is the front tip of the tongue touching the sharp part of the top front two teeth, right? أولئك الذين الذين. Okay, let me draw a tongue here. So let's draw a tongue. Okay, this is a tongue, front of the tongue, back of the tongue, inshallah. Okay, so now we have ulaika alladhina. Dhal again is the front tip of the tongue, and then let's draw the top teeth here. Okay, here's 4 teeth, okay, on the top. So the front tip of the tongue touches right here, the sharp part of the teeth. Ladhina, dhal, adh, ulaika alladhina. What's the makhraj of noon? Noon is from the front tip of the tongue, right here, okay, touching the gums of the front two teeth. أن أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى. Okay, ضاد is sides of the tongue. فما ربحت تجارتهم. Remember, anytime you have a dhamma, you have to make your lips round. تجارتهم. وما. What's the makhraj of mim? It is the dry portions of the lips touching. وما كانوا small ha, right, less air. muhtadin, and not muh, not muh. That's too much air. That's the big ha. This is ha. Muhtadin. مثلهم مثلهم كمثل الذي. What's the makharij of sin? S. It is the front tip of the tongue right here, touching the back of the bottom front two teeth. Okay? S. S. The back of the bottom front two teeth. مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا فلما. And how long do you stretch this? So we stretch it 4 or 5 harakas, right? Because we have a fatha followed by alif, we ignore the wavy line because it's telling us we have to stretch, but we already know that. So we have a fatha followed by alif, and we know that's 2 harakas. And immediately after that there's a hamza, right? Because an alif, if alif has any vowel, meaning fatha, dhamma, or kasra, it's actually called hamza. So فلما أضاءت ما حوله ذهب الله بنورهم وتركهم في ظا. What's the makhraj of dha? Same as dhal, the front tip of the tongue touching the sharp part of the teeth, of the top front two teeth. ظلمات لا يبصرون صم بكم عمي فهم لا يرجعون. عين, right, from the middle of the throat, and you put emphasis on the throat. لا يرجعون. أو كصيب. What's the makhraj of صاد? صاد is the same makhraj as sin and zay, right, which is the front tip of the tongue right here touching the back of the bottom front two teeth. كصيب من السماء. How long do you stretch this? Again, we ignored this sign. It's just telling us that we have to stretch, but we already know that. So zabr, or rather fatha followed by alif, so it's 2 harakas. Immediately after that followed by hamza, so now it's 4 or 5 harakas. كصيب من السماء فيه ظلمات ورعد وبرق. فيه ظلمات ورعد وبرق. يجعل. مخرج of jim, middle of the tongue hitting the top of the mouth. ورعد وبرق. يجعلون أصابعهم في. Okay, why do we stretch it? 4 or 5? Because of the hamza, ya sakin, with a kasra before it, right? في آذانهم من الصواعق حذر الموت والله محيط بالكافرين. يكاد البرق يخطف أبصارهم كلما أضاء. What's the makhraj of ضاد? The sides of the tongue, the back sides of the tongue, hitting the gums of the top side teeth, the molars. Okay. أضاء لهم مشوا فيه وإذا أظلم عليهم قاموا ولو شاء الله لذهب بسمعهم وأبصارهم إن الله على كل شيء قدير شيء قدير. Inshallah, that concludes this lesson. Jazakallah khair for watching. Again, I encourage you to go listen to some Qurra, famous Qurra, like Shaykh Husari, Husary, Shaykh Husari. And one website you can use is tanzeel.net. Tanzeel.net. Okay, and try to recite first, and maybe even record your recitation, and then compare it to how Shaykh Husari recites it, and see what the difference is, right? And then go back to the Makharij video, and again practice how to pronounce the letter properly, inshallah. And there's actually one thing I want to add before we conclude this video that's not in Makharij. Okay, now the heavy letters in Arabic. Okay, so they are khossa. There's a sentence that the ulama created that contains all the heavy letters. Okay, khossa ضغط excuse my bad computer writing ضغط قيض. Okay, قيض. Okay, خصة خا صاد ضاد غين طا قاف and ظا. Okay, so again خا صاد ضاد غين طا قاف and ظا. These are all the heavy letters. So basically what that means is when you pronounce these letters, the back of the tongue rises to make the heavy sound, and if you stretch after these letters, then the sound comes out as A instead of E. But if there's a letter that's not here, then the sound should not be A, rather it should be E. So go back to the beginning. Lam. Okay, is lam here? In khussa daghtin qidh? No, there's no lam. So we don't say ulaika, right? We don't make the lam heavy because it's not from the heavy letters. We say ula, ulaika. Okay, and the way you do that physically is you keep the back of your tongue lower, right? الذين اشتروا الضلاء, again light, بالهدى, it's not بالهدى, right? بالهدى, because dal is not in خصة ضغط قض خا صاد ضاد غين طا قاف and ظا, it's not in خصة ضغط قض. فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين. Try to find a quick heavy example. ضاد. Okay, we have ضاد, so it's a heavy letter. That's why we say فلما أضاءت, right? We don't say أضاءت, we say أضاءت because it is a heavy letter. Inshallah, that's the end of this lesson. Jazakallah khair for watching. Assalamu alaikum.